experience life the way we need to experience it. Absolutely, positively. So I'm just going to give a second. So how's everybody doing? Check in with me today, right now. What city and state are you watching from? What time is it where you are? What do you have planned for today? I know that a lot of us are restricted, quote unquote, restricted right now in the amount of duties and things we would normally do. But I want to encourage you in this moment to really foster what that knowing. Is it where you are? All right. So I really want you to focus on, I want you to really focus on that greatness. And you can see we're on live. We're back alive. And so we're going to continue our conversation. But what are you doing? Like what's going on? How are you feeling? What would you like to happen? What would you like to see? How do you want to magnify your newness of your life? And so that's something I want to talk about today. So today's Saturday Set Down is all about us embracing the higher parts of who we are when we are that person. And one of the things I was talking about earlier, excuse me, one of the things I was talking about earlier is just the whole idea of how do we find that level of um, harmony? How do we get to the eye of the storm in the moments that we're existing in right now? And I don't want to inundate you because everyone is talking about how to deal with the situation. So I don't want to overwhelm you with that. But what I do want to get you to think about is how you realistically can get to your safe place, how you can escape from all of the things that are being said and heard over time, and how you can begin to really shine, exist, and thrive in this moment. I want to tell you to thrive in this moment. Thriving is different from survival. I know back in my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they are really experiencing illnesses and deaths from this current pandemic we're experiencing. And I want to say that it's not a surprise when you look at the density of New York City, the density of urban metropolitan areas, the amount of in-depth poverty and the minimalization that people exist on a daily basis. And then you're telling people that they need to wash their hands, they need to stay indoors, they need to do things to boost their immune system when they're in a survival state where they're experiencing not only the panic of daily life and the survival mode of daily life, but now you come and topple this on top and say, now you're at a greater risk potentially for contracting something that's going to require you to be incapacitated from 14 to 31 days. You are taking people who work 2, 3 jobs, full-time jobs. In some cases, they're working 2 full-time jobs and maybe an optional part-time job, and trying to circumvent and navigate the new waters that says, your company is closed down, you're no longer able to do this job. And so just to be able to do the normal things, even if it's just collecting cans, or if it is putting yourself out there to experience another level of life, like how do you move past that? How do you get persons to examine who they are and what they are and go into a thriving mindset, get into a thriving system? It takes work. And I think that it takes all of us who are a little bit more comfortable, who do have, going back to Maslow's hierarchy of life, when Maslow talks about if you have food, water, shelter, and safety, right? Once those 4 things are there, then you begin to have this ideal of having awareness around you beyond that. Then you can start caring about how the lawn looks. You can start caring about washing your hands. You can start caring about staying home and, trusting that there's going to be this massive, inclusive process that's going to happen. But until then, you just have to really set yourself in the tone to understand that we have a whole population of the world that cannot remove itself instantly from abject poverty and cannot instantly experience hyper cleansing of their environments and even of their bodies. I mean, there are places where they're still without water. So with that, I say to those of us who are comfortable that today, let's take a pause. of our day, from watching all the news stories and feeling sad and feeling as if we are bound and we're restricted and we're being held hostage by something that we can't see. And that thing is fear. That thing is dissonance. It is a defiance, because the fear is causing you to say, I don't have to worry about that. That's not me. But it is you, because we're all connected to everyone. Everyone around the world is connected to us. And if that is who we are, if that is, again, who we are striving to be, a globalized community that is more, that is what I am taking from this episode in our book called Life. I'm finding that it's going to force those of us who are very comfortable, those of us who have become very distant and dismissive of other persons because of their current state of affairs, and we want to, reject them on the bounds that, that's not us. That's because of something they did or didn't do. Well, you can't say that this time. This isn't about anything except for there is a creation, whether it was man-made or an involvement of a natural virus that was already there. The reality is that it's here. And we need to start surrounding ourselves. We need to start surrounding ourselves with conversations that are really inviting us to maintain the higher and the greatest parts of who we are, and understand that we're not social distancing. We don't want to disconnect from each other. We want to keep the conversations going. We're doing proximal, right? The proximity. We're distancing ourselves from proximity. And we're saying to ourselves, the reason why we're doing that right now is because we really don't understand how this thing works. Like, so much more that happens in our life. Do we really always understand what's going to be the end result of an action we do right now? But we might say that action, taking that action, is one step closer to possibly where you want to be. Because even if it's an error, you can learn from that error and you can expand. Today's Saturday session with myself, Dr. Marrian, Sister Efua, here, your intuitive lifestyle, holistic prosperity lifestyle alchemist of inner engineering, is attempting to share with you the perspectives, because in perspectives is part of having power. And if you're going to have power, then you need to be aware of perspectives, the perspectives and the possibilities that are there, the perspectives and the possibilities that are there to afford you an opportunity to grow and expand instead of constricting and destroying and living in fear, which is messing with your immune system, which is destroying your mental emotional status, right? So we want to begin to focus on the knowing of you, on the honesty of you. What are you feeling? And are you willing to allow yourself to do the things that make you happy in this time? What makes you happy? Maybe you say, well, making me happy was, being able to go out and sing and be with my band. Well, I'm going to tell you a secret that I was thinking about, because I was thinking the same thing. So last night I sang a little short a cappella song, and it's called Love. And it's more to the verses, but it just said, love everybody, love, love, love everybody, love, love, love. When it's hard to love, love, our loving will change the world. And that came from Agape International Spiritual Center. That's a song they sing there, right? And then it says, hug, hug everybody. It says, trust like, it's just like a different little things. The whole point of it is to build community. And I think now more than ever, I know that initially we might be in a shock if you have children at home. I know initially right now you and your spouse having to be in the same space all the time might get a little antsy for you. But I want to encourage you to, even isolate yourself for a little bit and remind yourself why those persons are your family. Why are those persons your roommate? Why are those persons in your space? Why do you have to still go to work? Why did you choose that career? I know that there's a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty will all the time. But you have to be certain that what you've chosen to do, who you've chosen to be, what you contributed to this world is a viable asset for you. And if that's your viable asset, which is you, and you're willing to share your gifts, your talents, your knowledge, your wisdoms, your understandings, then let's do that. Let's do that. So I only want this Saturday set down for us to, yeah, let's do that again. I mean, it feels good when you really do it right and you deep breathe and you feel your whole body expand. Today's conversation is simply that. Let's expand into a place where we can grow and we can honor our wisdoms, our relationships, our knowings, and our love. That's what it's about. As I started out, I talked about, we know what's there, but what else is here? What else is here? What else is here? What was, yeah, no, you can't go to work, but what you can do is maybe work on a project for yourself, something you wanted to, maybe you can read that book that you always wanted to read to because you really liked it and you thought it was something else. Read the book. Maybe you wanted to teach your child how to ride a bike. Go ride the bike. Nobody's outside. Maybe you want to cook a certain recipe, veg out on the cooking shows and play with some ideas, maybe in smaller portions so that you can conserve your things. But look, get creative, y'all. Get creative and trust it. And as I always say, I'm always wearing my two bracelets that I like, and they're very simple. It says laugh, love, live. And then my bracelet that I give out to everyone who's a part of our family, it says, I am the best thing growing. My life is exponential. And if we can remember that, if we can go forward on today, just remembering and recalling that our life is exponential. It is ever expanding. There's always room for us. There's always opportunities for us. People are trying new things. I mean, I'm here. I'm always in my studio. So now I'm just here, and you may hear my family members in the background in transition going past. You may identify that, but the key thing is that in this time and space, you have to thrive. Thrive is far beyond survival mode. You have food, you have water, you have safety. Some people thought they needed toilet paper, right? But that's not exactly what we're doing. So what we want to say today is that in order to thrive, you must go within. You must identify your own personal strengths. Remember why you're home with your family. You love them. Remember that job that you value, that you thought was your all in all. Now you see that you're much more than that particular job that you had or that career that you aspired to. You can still make an impact and influence people with your wisdoms and your knowledge, but in a different capacity. I heard someone, I'm going to be part of a panel later on today, and I heard someone saying that they found themselves, examining what kind of skills they got. You may find out that you really don't need your employer. A lot of people are going to realize that the job they've been getting paid for, forced to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week for, they can now convert down to 30 hours a week and package it up and reposition it out to the world in a different place on their own, right? They're going to learn that the yearning they've had to have a different type of career is now available to them. That they're going to learn that they really do love their spouse, their partner. They're going to really experience that they really do want to have a optimum health in their bodies. And so they kind of like taking the B12 and the vitamin D and the vitamin C and eating, the dark green vegetables and the orange vegetables to boost their immune system. They like the energy that they feel from that. They like drinking extra water. They find themselves feeling more energetic and allowing the currency of life to flow through them more freely. So a lot of us are going to discover a new level of our existence. And that's called thriving. We're going to thrive. We're going to go beyond the moment of scarcity and lack and uncertainty. And we're going to move into a place of acknowledging that we are greater than this moment and that who we are and what we represent to the world is so valuable that we cannot afford to waste a moment of time doubting that we're going to be here for the next moment. This is what I want to tell y'all today. I want to encourage you to thrive. We've heard about people shine. I've heard people talking, be a leader, shine, let everybody see you, be optimistic. All of that is perfect, fine, and dandy. I couldn't, I just realized I didn't put my other earring on, but that's okay, right? Because in that, I'm still thriving. Even without my jewelry, I'm still thriving, right? In this space with you, because it's important, because I want to remind you to thrive. I want to remind you to dig deep. I want to remind you to clear out that closet. Like today, I got to work on my closet. This weekend, that's one of my projects. I have to work on my closet because I come and I go, I come and I go, and then it's not the way I want it to be. So I want to take the time out to dedicate maybe the next 3 days, to get my closet together. I want to recommit to doing some things, some spiritual work that I normally do. I want to recommit to being available to more people who might just need to have a conversation and get some support in thriving. I want to be available to my grandchildren and to my children to be able to. Do I miss them? Absolutely. I have 3 of my children not with me and 2 of my grandchildren not with me in my home. I kind of wish that I would have said, everybody just come here right away and we all just thrive in this place together. Would it have been tight? Would it have been agitating? Would it have been a challenge? Yeah, it would. But guess what? Eventually we all would have got back down to just knowing that we love each other and we want to be together. And so in that moment, I am grateful. And so find a moment to have gratitude. Become a person of mission to thrive. Stop watching everything on the television, on the radio, on the Facebook. Everybody's an expert. Just go to the experts and then stay there like me for 15 minutes. Every morning for 15 minutes, I get up and I listen to an expert, someone who's actually an infectious disease person, someone who actually is there on the ground zero. And then that's it. And then I'm done. I don't want to hear about it. If there's going to be a stimulus package, honestly, that amount of money that's coming is not enough for you to do much with, except maybe boost back up your groceries. So I want you to focus on the skills, the talents, and the asset that you have. I want you to build up your growth and your development for you, self-development. And I'm reminding you that I'm here for that purpose. That's what I do at Exponential Existence. We provide people with an opportunity to examine themselves and release the greatest viable, productive enhancements that they already have. And we just help them put them out there and begin to live and create a life that is sustained, that is driven from the inside out and not in reaction to what's externally coming at them all the time. Because there's a lot coming at us all the time. But you got to be able to get quiet. You got to set a pattern. You got to maximize your time. So thrive. I am Dr. Marrian, Sister Efua, your holistic prosperity lifestyle alchemist of inner engineering. You have listened to the Saturday Satdown here on Exponential Media. And I am excited, beyond excited, to be here to share that message with you today. I am trusting that you will continue to thrive. I am trusting that you believe that you are worthy of a life that is full of joy and magnanimous experiences, even in this world where they're limiting our external exchanges. But we can have exchanges this way. Call people, FaceTime. Use your vivid imagination to imagine touching someone's hand, to imagine hugging the person you love, hearing their laughter. Call them on the phone. Remember that. There's more possibilities and opportunities. It's in your perspective. That's the first P in power, is perspective and possibilities. And you have the opportunities that are available to you, and you contain the willingness inside of you to exert energy to bring about the results you desire. And if we all are focusing on thriving, if we're all focusing on being at our highest and best self, if we're focusing on the things that remind us of the vibrancy and the possibilities that we can become aware of and actually implement, well, it is at that point that we will see a shift in the atmosphere. We will see people beginning to adhere to the processes, and we can support other people. And maybe instead of taking 2 or 3 off a shelf, right, we just take one and we allow, or we buy 2 and we give one to someone that we don't believe has the means to purchase. And we have a conversation, maybe virtually, and leave a note that just says, hey, this is so you don't have to go out, or here's an extra package of food. Whatever it takes, that's what we have to be willing to do. Whatever it takes. So join your rest of your Saturday. If you want to join me later on, I will be on the Walk Your Brilliance Women Coaching Association's annual summit. It is online. If you go into my Self-Mastery with Marrian Efua on Facebook, Self-Mastery with Marrian Efua, you'll be able to see the whole entire summit online in that group. If you have not gone there, go there and just watch it. We've had about 4 speakers speak so far, but I had to come on to give you your Saturday sat down, because this sat down is so important. It's so important to stay connected to the people you care about. And you're my family. You've been here with me now almost 10 years. Some of you have been with me since I started, and some of you are newer than that, but you're just as important to me. And I want to remind you, you hold the power to thrive. Until next time. Remember that when things begin to cloud your way, make you feel like you just can't go on, stop, scream out nice and loud. That's not my reality. And remember that it's only a bad dream until you make it reality. Until next time.